Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings. Glad to be here today. Rest down a little bit today. I've been working on a project. So I'm glad to be here with you today. Very interesting show today. Very interesting. I can't wait to get into it. And also we've arranged a talk show to help our brother vindicate himself if he desires. Help our brother vindicate himself if he desires to. But nonetheless, we're going to run the show, and we'll have the date for the show set up so that you'll be able to see it. We're going to interview Brother Farrakan. We look forward to interviewing him. Hopefully, he doesn't turn it down. My desire and prayer that he will accept it. He's already turned it down twice. But my desire and prayer is that he won't turn it down, and you have my word, brothers and sisters. I'll be respectful on the show. And our entire desire is to let him tell his story, his entire story. My understanding is that he has a book coming out, and he says he'll be transparent in the book. We've invited him to come on the talk show. Not this talk show, but to come on, because I've invited him to this talk show as well, but to come on another show where they'll have me as guests. I'll be on there as guests to talk about all these things that have transpired and why the attack against me was a failure. So we're going to talk about it, get a chance to talk about it. And brothers and sisters, our job on this show as brothers and sisters, as men and women of God who love each other, is to come to an agreement, right? To put it all out on the table, to sit at the table of brotherhood. Isn't that right? That's what God wants us to do. Sit on the table, sit at the table, brotherhood. Now the devil don't want it. The devil don't want it. He don't want us to make peace. You don't want that. But that's God's business. God's desire is that we make it. God's desire is. So our desire and prayer is that we can come together. And we've asked the brother if he'll come on the show. The individual that wants to run the show has agreed to have him on if he wants to come on. He's agreed to have him on. So we've asked him. He's turned it down twice. But I'm hoping that the brother would come to his senses and do it. Nonetheless, we're going to run the show anyway. Peace, brother. Peace, brother Bruce. Assalamu alaikum to you, brother. Glad to have you here. And so, we'll give Brother Farrakan his day in court, so to speak. And we'll be fair with the brother. We'll be fair with him. We won't, not going to pull any shenanigans or anything like that. We will be fair with the brother. I think it's enough that he did fail in trying to run a story on me. So we want to run an accurate story, and we want him to tell his side, right? You of all people know that I don't trust the government. So anytime the government has did anything against one of our brothers and sisters, then we have to question that, because we are in bondage, right? We're in bondage to this government. There's no doubting that. You and I are old enough to know that we're in bondage under this government. So we'll hear it from the brother and let him tell his story. We'll hear from the brother and let him tell his story. Peace and greetings, brother. You are welcome to heckle and do whatever you want on this show. Welcome to do it. My license and stuff is a fact, but you are welcome to handle yourself any way you want to on this show. It's our brother Austin Barr. You're welcome to do it. So, our desire and our prayer is to build up the black community. That's what we have to be doing. We got to build it up. And once we build up the black community, we'll be able to successfully fight. We'll be able to successfully fight the problems that we have. Right? And so, it's a blessing. I want to say that it's a blessing because he was able to show better than I could. He was able to pull up receipts, as he say, to show all of my college loans. But that's what it was. That's what it was. All the loans that I incurred through med school and through college, right? Of the debt that I have, and that's what happened. It's the only way that I can get a debt like that. So he's proved it. He proved that I was being honest the entire time, even when I told you about my financial situation, right? He brought it on and let you know that I was telling the truth. I've been transparent the entire time. Anything you want to find on me is out there. And I'm glad. I thank God for the internet in that sense, right? I'm thankful for it. So I would say, now that we've gotten all of that foolishness out of the way, because that's what it is. It's a bunch of foolishness. They'll have us around here attacking one another. We're not getting anything done in revolution. The only thing we're doing is attacking one another. Not getting anything done. And the government will bag people in the corner. I could have my debt expunged tomorrow, right? All my college loans, that debt that you saw from me going to med school and going to college, right? All of that could be expunged. All of it could be expunged if I was to go on and do what the government says, right? I'm just not into selling out or buying in to anything the white man has. I won't do it. I won't do it. But when you look at the extensiveness of their reach to try to get something on me, you know the government is behind it. We can't look at one another when we're being attacked. We have to look at the U.S. government because they'll send them out. They will send them out to do that kind of evil. Only the government could do that. Only the government could do that. And we've got to be smarter. We've got to be smarter to allow God to use us and to be steadfast, to be unmovable, and to be always abounding in this work that God has in front of us. And that work means for us to deliver black people. We've got to deliver black people. We got to deliver ignorant brothers like Austin Barr on here. Talking about doctor's impersonator. And you see the records and see my license online. You see it. You can pull it up. Anybody can. There are many people that have pulled up the right thing. But our people are so damaged. They're so damaged. And that they are willing. They're that damaged that they're willing to destroy the only chance that we have at true liberation. Right? And that's black leaders. That's you and I. You and I. All of us as black people are the only chance we have at true liberation. All of us. All of us. all of us are the only people that we can depend on. Each and every one of us. Greetings, Brother EA. Greetings. Just here to say props to you for not stooping down to the level of Jerry Springery, that who will not be named makes a living off of and staying on the high ground. Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. We definitely going to stay in the area of righteousness, and we're going to stay in any area that's going to build up our black people, because that's what I'm about, building up the brothers and sisters. I don't care about anything else except building us up. But we have a show coming where we're going to discuss Taharka Bey. And this show is coming very, very soon. So you stay tuned, and we're going to discuss him. And it won't be any dirty stuff. We're not going to do that, but we're going to discuss it in an intelligent manner. And we're giving the brother a chance to come on the show and speak his piece if he wants. But we'll definitely be giving you the date and time for that show. And we'll have the documents of where these offenses were created or offenses were committed, where the brother was in court, and this court was a private court where they dropped the charges. I'm talking about hard charges of armed robbery and drug paraphernalia and all of that stuff. All of that stuff. I mean, literally dropped the charges. And it was an unpublicized court case. Unpublicized. And, well, and here's the thing. We have to discuss it because there are guys that, and I'm explaining this, and I pray, and I invite them on the show so they could come on as well to comment or whatever. But and I know this, our brother EA said, I personally think you should leave it alone, stay the high ground, but at the end of the day, you must do what you feel is right. And here's the thing. We'll have to discuss it because we can't, anything that happened in the black community that we feel is being controlled and conducted by federal agents, informants, and true provocateurs, right? We have to discuss it because the brother, we don't endorse anybody guilty of registered sex crimes. We don't endorse that. A registered sex offender, we don't endorse that. We certainly don't endorse pedophilia. We don't endorse it, and we have to talk about it. This is not, when we say revolutionary, when we talk about standing up as revolutionaries, we have to take a righteous stand, right? And that don't mean misuse the people. We can't be beating women with baseball bats, brother. And we're going to talk about that. This is not, and there's some people out there that have been hurt. And this is what I want to say. Some people out there with good intentions, right? Good intentions have been hurt. And so we'll have to have the show because we can't let it ride because other people are going to continue to get hurt. And it wouldn't be good for me, who've been standing up for the people for years, and other people I've seen stand up for the people, right? And people that have been under this abuse. I'm talking about women and children beaten with baseball bats. I saw that in the record. And that's why I tell you, I'm not gonna go down any dirty path, but I'm going to tell the truth that we don't endorse this. This is not a revolutionary. This is not what it means to be righteous. To be beating women with baseball bats, taking their choice, not allowing them to be independent. We don't endorse that, brother. We don't endorse that, sisters. This is not what we endorse. We don't endorse pedophilia. We don't endorse that. We don't endorse black men ganging up on women, making them sexual objects, in bed or otherwise. We don't endorse it. I don't endorse it no more in the rap community than I do anywhere else. We do not endorse that. We don't endorse it. He was able to pull me up. I don't have a criminal record. I don't believe in beating women like men and beating them with baseball bats and raping children. We should be protecting them. We should be protecting them, so we have to deal with it. We got to. We got to deal with it. as true revolutionaries and lovers of the people. If we truly love the people, we have to deal with it. For too long do we let black brothers, especially black brothers, sometimes black sisters, but especially black brothers, get away with beating women, unrecognizable, raping children. Come on, brothers. You know I'm right. And doing criminal acts, armed robbery, and never straightening them out about it. We can't do that. We can't do that, brother. That's not something we endorse. And so we have to attack it. We have to attack that, but I'm not going to attack the brother. And if you, again, go to my Facebook page, I posted every story that he ran. I posted it up because I didn't think anything of it, didn't really take it seriously. I thought coming on the show was sort of fun. Me personally, I thought it was sort of fun. But as far as what we have to do that. There's someone, and there's a history of people that we don't know that have already been hurt by gangster mentality. That's not what nationalism is. I'm no gangster. I'm not going to mislead nobody. I'm no liar for black nationalism or anything else. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it. My grandfather raised me in the church. I've been preaching for as long as I could walk. I've been preaching and ministering to black people. And when I went with Dr. Khalid Muhammad, I was able to go to Elijah's temple in Tunica to continue my mission, and I chose to be active there. But I still worked along with the Baptist churches. I stood upright. The Methodist churches, I preached there. I stood upright. I stood upright in the African Catholic churches, African Orthodox churches. I stood upright, brothers and sisters. That's my duty to you. You often see me come on here and apologize for not even being shaved. And that's not something that I'm proud of when I get on and haven't had a fresh shave. I expect to come before you the right way. You'll never catch me before you without a decent sweater on or a decent jacket on. You'll never see me do it. That's disrespect to you and disrespect for myself. This is what I learned from my grandfather. This is also what I learned in the Muslim movement under Minister David X, under Dr. Khalid Muhammad. These are things that I learned, and I'm going to stand before you the right way. But we've also learned to be able to attack and to straighten up things within our own community when something's going wrong. And that's the reason. So our brother says, this brother EA, I completely understand, but you have some people who thrive off of drama and it only gives them more fuel, then it becomes a never-ending story back and forth. Well, that's not, and I understand that, but that's not my aim. When I went on the brother's show, his people had already told me that it was a setup, but I seen what the brother had done, and I allowed myself to be used because I knew that it couldn't go on forever, and he still hasn't brought up anything credible, because I'm not out there doing wrong. I'm not out there pulling stunts. I'm not out there lying and tricking and manipulating people. I wouldn't do that. I'm definitely not for sale. You can see that. Any man with a debt like that, I could have been got rid of it, right? The wrong way. But I'm not for sale. I won't buy in and I won't sell out, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, it's shame on me if I would sit back and let women that have been beaten by a brother that calls himself a black nationalist or calls himself a Moorish grand sheik. I can't do that. We have to discuss this. He says he's going to write a book that he's the next Minister Malcolm X. Well, Minister Malcolm wouldn't be acting the way that he's acting today. I'm sure that Minister Malcolm wouldn't be acting like that, attacking black people. He wouldn't be doing that. So the story has to be told. He can tell his story, and we've invited him out to tell it. But if he don't, then we're going to talk about it, and we're going to apologize to anybody that may have been hurt in the name of black nationalism or in the name of Islam or as a Mauricelm temple or as a individual standing up. We're gonna apologize. We owe a great apology. And any brothers that were hurt or sisters that were hurt, I've already reached out to them to bring them back and to be able to take care of them, to listen to them, and to encourage them to continue to fight for our people. Any of the ones that were on the right track. If they weren't on the right track, then I talked to them about getting on the right track so that we can move forward. And this is what we have to do. We have to understand, if you don't remember anything else that I say, I come on here to tell you that they're killing us, brothers and sisters, and we better get it together. We better get it together because they're killing us. And we can see it in broad daylight. You and I can see this. We can see that they're killing us. And so we've got to get stronger. We've got to get wiser. We've got to get better at protecting one another and speaking well and building one another up. We've got to get better at that. If we don't get better at that, brothers and sisters, if we don't unite, we will surely fall. And right now, we're already so far down on the ground that even the ants are looking like giants to us. Right? The black man ain't got no friends. Name me one friend the black man has. We don't have the red man as friends. We don't have the yellow man as friends. We certainly don't have the brown man as friends. And even the black man amongst himself is friendless. Even amongst himself, he's friendless. So you and I have to get together. We have to work together. We've got to come together for a common cause. And that cause is to save the black community from extinction. You and I, brothers and sisters, are becoming extinct. We are becoming extinct today. And we'll continue to become extinct if we don't do something about it. And without exception, this is the message that was left to us by our ancestors. Many of us are talking about the ancestors and calling on the ancestors. I'm talking about the ancestors every day on here. Why? Because it would give us knowledge, give us intelligence about what's going on. It will tell us where we are today, how we got here, who we were before we were brought here, when we were in captivity, who put us in captivity, and how did he put us in captivity. And we did just like the American Indians did. We first saw the white man. First thing we did is brought him to dinner. That was our mistake right there. The ancestor was telling us, don't you bring these people to dinner. Don't you eat with filthy people. People with unclean minds, unclean hands. They're unclean. Don't you eat with them. Don't talk with them. And we did exactly what they told us not to do. We did what they told us not to do, and it put us in the situation of slavery. And now we're in the belly of the beast, right? We left the belly of wooden whales, the belly of wooden ships, and now we're in the belly of the beast. And he's all but used us up, and instead of paying us, he's ready to kill us. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? That's what you and I are today. Instead of paying us, he's ready to kill us. He's ready to kill us, you and I, today. So we've got to be steadfast, brothers and sisters, unmovable, right? In our mission, our goal. We've got to move forward. Don't worry about what's happening around you. Don't even worry about the storm, because God has given you and I power to overcome the storm. God, the true and living God, has given you and I power to overcome whatever storm that comes against us. He's given us that power. God has. God has given us the power to endure. And if we stand strong, brothers and sisters, we will endure. If we stand strong and believe and not doubt, God will do what he said he would do for us, because he said, if we ask, it shall be given, seek, and we shall find, knock, and the door shall be open unto us. And brothers and sisters, I believe that with everything that's in me, that God is with us and shall not fail us. He shall not fail. We may fail one another, but God should not fail. Our brother Bruce says in a 1962 lecture at number 7, Malcolm X said that the dog is the white man's best friend but God is the black man's best friend. And that's true. That's true. God is our friend. God is the black man's friend. We are God and we are from God. We are God and we are from God. And that's something too to talk about. I'm glad Brother Bruce brought that out. I always appreciate anybody that put anything in the comment section, because it's so necessary, brothers and sisters. God in heaven knows we need it. God in this heaven right here, knows that we need it. But you know, it's amazing because the white man will take care of his dog better than he take care of you. Take care of his dog better than he take care of his wife. Right? I'm talking to the people that would do anything for the white man. Because he can't get me to do nothing for him. But those that would do anything the white man says, get them to run your own people down and to attack people's character. Right? At the cost of building yourself up. Right? At the cost of depressing them and destroying them and building yourself up. I want you to know, all of the individuals that will see this, that is the white man's flunky, such as Candace Owens and many others. See, the white man don't care nothing about you. He don't even care anything about his own kids. Proof of which, he's killing them. He's killing his own children. Isn't that right? When we got in this COVID thing, and they were losing money, right? The other depression we've had about 4 or 5 depressions, and they were losing everything. The first thing they did was shot their family dead. Killed the kids, killed the wife, right? Didn't leave nobody alive but the dog. That tells you how much he loved the dog. He won't even kill the dog. Won't even kill the dog. So he loved him in life the same way he loves him in death. But you and I, who are part of the holy messianic promise of God, you and I, who are the root of Jesse, the lost tribe of Shabazz, right? The lost tribe of Israel, you and I don't even know how to love each other, brothers and sisters. And we've been damaged so much. And have learned how to damage each other so much that we damage each other on a day-to-day basis. We've got to get beyond that. Got to get beyond damaging one another, right? We got to get beyond it. And I tell you this, and you can believe it, anytime a person could be verbally abusive, they'll be physically abusive. Because the verbal abuse is what takes place first. And what comes in the mind, right, has come from the heart, right, and can be acted out. Believe that. So we've got to, even the words that we speak, when we speak words to one another, it has to be words of life. I don't care how mad you get, it doesn't excuse you from ripping somebody down. It doesn't excuse you from attacking them. We've got to get better than that, brothers and sisters. Because God has given us the power, right, to be strong. We have the power to heal in our words. We have the power to heal in our reconciliation as brothers and sisters. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We're going to talk about our subject when Albert Cleage warns Dr. Khalid. We're going to talk about that, but I just want you to be in the right frame of mind. That it takes a very cold-hearted person to destroy or kill anyone. You may not kill anybody with your hands, but you can certainly do it with your mouth. If you speak negative words, you're speaking words of death. You're ripping somebody down to the point that they're hurting and in pain. You can speak the words of death. But you also have the power to speak life. You have the power, you and I have the power to speak life and not break each other down. But we have to deal with every situation that comes before us. And we have to be truthful in perspective and truthful into goal. And if we're wrong, give an individual a chance to speak their piece. And when God can deal between you and that individual, because it says, out of the mouth of 2 or 3, let the truth be established. Isn't that what the word says? And when a person has a chance to speak their truth, and you got the individuals there involved, then you can come on the same sheet of music, right? Get on the same page, right? Sit at the table of brotherhood that God has set down in front of us. And then after that, you can begin to reconstruct your life. And that's the way God intended. If a brother or sister is having marital problems, they'll go to another brother or sister that are humble enough to be transparent, to be there for them in that problem. They can help one another, right? You can help one another the same way with knowledge. If one has knowledge and the other is desiring knowledge, the one that don't have knowledge, go to the one that desiring knowledge and gain knowledge. And you'll find out that when that person gain knowledge, right, and they're equivalent in place, that person will build you up and you'll build the person up. This is why the apostles and the prophets went out 2 by 2. Isn't that right? Every time you saw a prophet or apostle go out, they were going out 2 by 2. They never went out alone because they had one to speak and the other to edify. Right? One to work and the other to encourage. Right? One to tear down and the other to build up. Right? But they will never leave the individual in the same situation or lesser of the situation when they met him. And that's what God has called you and I to do. And brothers and sisters, this is real church. I'm telling you, this is real religion. For any of those that haven't got a chance to make it inside the temple, I tell you that tonight and every night that we're meeting here, that you're inside of the temple spiritually, you're inside of the church spiritually, and God is in the midst. Because he will teach us and train us on how to build up one another. Isn't that right? Iron sharpens iron. How to build up one another and how to take each other to higher heights. Right? And how to love one another with the love of God. Not the love of man. Because man has a different love. Man can't love you like God loves you, brothers and sisters. He just can't do it. But God's love is different than man's love because the love of God is found within our hearts. Isn't that right? And they said that between 2 or 3 let the truth be established. And then it also said try the spirit by the spirit. And then there's another verse that said by love all men should know that we are the people of God. Isn't that right? Right? By love all men shall know that we are his disciples. Isn't that right? So brothers and sisters, God has called us with a purpose. And the purpose that he's called us for, we have to be willing to embrace. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters, please. We certainly could use it so that we could get this message out. And don't forget about us. And don't forget about the Cash App or be able to buy a book. Please do. We're going to be on here regardless, but we're not begging, brothers and sisters. We're trying to give you something for something. So we'll create a system of barter between us where we're selling books and we could use your support to buy it or somebody's support. Maybe you'll tell someone else about it and maybe they could use it. But we have it here. We have the information here. And all of these things before you and in front of you. If you go to the top of the support page, you'll find those books there. You'll find the lessons there. And we also have other books that will be coming out that I've just finished, brothers and sisters. Working hard, in between, trying to work to stay above. Isn't that right? Stay afloat. But I believe God, brothers and sisters. I believe that whatever I'm in, God will get me through it. Because whatever I've ever been in, God has always delivered me. And I'm so happy and so glad to be able to talk to you today about God and how powerful He is. He really is. Because only God could spare, deliver, and teach us in a time such as this. Only God. Right? Not the white man's God, but the true and living God. The true and living God. And that God loves us all. That God loves the black man so much that he allows us to be strong enough to say something against the white man. Isn't that right? That when they're shooting us down like dogs, that God will strengthen us and make us stand up and tell the truth about the situation that we're in. Just like it sent Moses, he is sending us to say, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And to tell Pharaoh, right, the one that knew not Joseph, to let my people go. To let my people go. And so you and I are in bondage, brothers and sisters. If you don't remember whatever else, we're in bondage. And so we have a great story today. Dr. Khalid meet Reverend Cleage. And I told you we talked about Reverend Cleage yesterday. Isn't that right? And talked about how powerful Reverend Cleage was. and how powerful he was in his stand, his faith for black nationalism. Is that right or wrong? And he kept that faith. He kept that faith for black nationalism, brothers and sisters. He didn't turn around. He kept the faith. You and I have to keep the faith. We have to keep the faith. So, brothers and sisters, we're ready to have that discussion. And we're also going to, yes, certainly, brother. Brother EA said, I know this isn't the topic of discussion, but what are your thoughts on Clarence 13X? Oh, definitely. I love him. I'm glad you brought it up. I love Brother Clarence. Everything I read on him, and some of my closest brothers are 5%ers. Some of the closest brothers. And Brother Clarence, brother, arm, legs, leg, arm, head. Arm, legs, arm, head, brother. And to talk about how the black man is God. Oh, brother, yes. It was an extension, and he filled the cracks of what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wasn't saying. Minister Clarence filled the cracks, right? And touched all the brothers that were down in the cracks or had fallen through the cracks. So, Brother Clarence 13X, we do have a show coming up where we'll be talking about him. If you look in the show column, you'll find it. We have a show where we'll be talking about Brother Clarence X, Brother Minister Clarence X. We got to talk about Clarence, brother. We have to, because we got a lot of power in that movement alone. But we got to talk about him. We got to talk about him. We going to talk about Hooker and Larry Hoover. Oh, yeah. We going to talk. We going to talk. We going to really talk. Because I believe that God has raised the soldiers. God is raising us for a time such as this. And I'm so thankful, brothers and sisters. I'm so thankful. And that's true. That's true. Our brother said, I feel like once the teachings left, the culture of hip-hop, the music deteriorated. That's true, brother. Because one thing about Clarence 13X, and I do want to touch on this very strongly, he was the great influence to Gil Scott. I don't know if you're familiar with Gil Scott-Heron. He was the great influence to the Black Panther Party as far as the knowledge that were being brought forth. You saw a whole lot of 5%ers in the Black Panthers. You had 5%ers in rap, original rap, and Muslims. Because the 5%ers are the lost and found. And many of them attended the mosque. And many of them would do teachings too. See, because Minister Clarence, for all of those that don't know, was a part of the Nation of Islam. He came from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's why his factor was so strong. So you have to understand that he was a powerful brother. So very powerful brother, and brought out the teachings of those and for those who had fallen through the cracks. And yes, hip-hop has changed. Look at the music today, brothers and sisters. Look at the music today and tell me if we don't even recognize hip-hop anymore. You can't even, unless it's an old song, you can't even recognize hip-hop anymore. Unless it's old. If it's an old song now, because, hey, Curtis Blow is considered old now. LL is considered old. Will Smith is considered old now. Right? Even though for their age, they're young to have been a part of that genre. If Tupac was alive, he would be considered old now when it came to this gangster rap. Gangster rap was built on the death of Tupac and Biggie. See? And we got Clarence 13X coming up because I've got some other stuff, brother, that I want to hit on that I know you probably ain't even thought about. But it's some powerful stuff. And Clarence 13X is the start of all that stuff with Grandmaster Flash, them putting out that knowledge, and the Furious Five. I mean, if you listen to the rap, you listen to Jam Only, and Cosmo D. Oh man, I mean that's powerful. Our brother Bruce says the immortal Allah B from Mecca returned home about a week ago. His memorial was yesterday he was taught directly by the Father. All praises be to Allah, and great rising to our brother. Great rising to our brother. Allah be a fierce force in black nationalism. A very fierce force, brothers and sisters. And we pay homage, and I salute that brother. I salute him as he rises in power. And our brothers and sisters are here but a moment. And that's why it's important for us to encourage one another, to build one another up. We don't have the time or luxury to tear each other down. And that brother was a fighter, and most fighters endure adversity. And you know, it's like Jesus. That's what, if you haven't seen Jesus, you haven't had your eyes open. Because every time you see a leader that's fighting for black people, that's Jesus. You don't hear me, brothers and sisters. The Spirit of God come into those who are willing, and who God calls, he qualifies to stand up for people that's under oppression. You and I are under oppression, brothers and sisters. We're not free. We're not free. That's why we're talking now. We're discussing. We're discussing how to unite as a black united force and stand together. Brothers and sisters, we can't be beating on each other with baseball bats, men nor women. We can't be ripping one another down with words. This is not righteous speaking. This is not righteous living, brothers and sisters. We can't be ripping one another down, never encouraging one another. We can't do that. And we've got to stand a holy and righteous life, and we've got to be loyal to one another as women and men. Brothers and sisters, we've got to stand strong in the power of God, who empowers us to bear the weight of the whole world on our shoulders as black people. And you and I, brothers and sisters, are in oppression, both mentally and physically. We are in oppression, you and I. And God has called us to stand up in righteousness, in holiness, because it is the will of God that none of us would be lost, but that all of us would be saved. And when I say saved, I mean being able to control our own life, our own destiny, and to live in the great beyond, where the white man is no longer in charge. Isn't that right? He's no longer in charge of our oppression, but we will stand in the liberty that God has made you and I free. And that's what God is doing to raise you and I up in this day and time. This day and time. So, brothers and sisters, it gives me great pleasure to be here, and I hope that I answered Brother EA and Brother Bruce. Our condolence certainly to Brother Allah B. Our condolences certainly, and to anyone that has lost anyone. Personally, I send out power and encouragement to you, and strong condolence as that individual has risen to power to lead the pressures of this earth. The pressures of this earth. And so our brother says, that's why, Brother EA said, that's why I think we should ignore the drama prone. Just keep teaching. Don't stop to stoop to their level. I know it's hard, but rising above will always be the best route. I understand, brother. And again, I'm not stooping. But what we must do, we have to talk about it. There have been too many to ask, and even from his area, about people that have been abused. And I pray. I studied clinical pastoral education as well as mental health. And so I'll be using clinical pastoral education, which is religious mental health, to talk about this and say we don't accept it. We don't accept any negative treatment of black women, black children, black men. We don't accept any treatment of any kind of abuse. And we're going to keep it general. We don't have to bring up any names in that. We'll keep it general. But brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that tonight is a very powerful night, and we understand how Brother Khalid was able to understand what was going on. When you see Brother Khalid in the latter 5 years of his life, and I would dare say the latter 6 years of his life, he is going through these awesome changes, and he's learning a lot. And Dr. Khalid begins to travel. If you look at him, he's always traveled around the country, right? But he began to travel over in Europe, begins to travel to Arabia. He began to be very critical of African people and what they weren't doing. He praised the African countries that were standing up, but he ridiculed the African countries that were standing down in the face of racism and oppression. And he began to talk to them. He talked to the African students in England. We helped arrange that and help raise the money to pay for it. I never forget it, because from certain people he wanted a lot of money donated, and we was around with the buckets, and also raising. I went to the Baptist churches and the Methodist churches because I was very familiar there speaking. Then I was able to get that money. Church of God in Christ, a lot of religious organizations sponsored Dr. Khalid. They loved Dr. Khalid because they saw him as all of our leaders. They saw him as a resurrection of Minister Malcolm X. And I know that Dr. Khalid was the resurrection of Minister Malcolm, because when our brother Ozzie Davis is reading the letter, he said, right now we're in the winter of discontent. But he said, what you see now is not a body, right, but a seed, right, that when it is buried will grow. He said, and in the season, the right season, we will know him, right? Right? And so we saw Dr. Khalid. We were looking at Minister Malcolm. We were looking at his works, and we got a chance to see Minister Malcolm all over again, looking at Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And Albert Cleage says this because he talked about the resurrection and the life, and how we, all of us, are being resurrected every day. And how when we die, then the stronger part of us is planted, and it grows up, and it comes up through other people, through the masses of people. So whether you know it or not, brother, our spirits and sisters, our spirits are being recycled, right? Because we are the God factor. And in between us is the Spirit of God. We are the chosen people. And God can work through us. God can work through us. So brothers and sisters, we are blessed, better than blessed. We are literally blessed, better than blessed, to be the promise of God, who will usher in deliverance, not only for ourselves, but God is going to deliver us, brothers and sisters, and you'll find that we will be the catalyst that others that are in depression will follow in order to get deliverance. And this is what Albert Cleage is telling our brother, Dr. Khalid, because, and you have to understand it, that Cleage was raised up to keep Christians in order, and also to be an allied source of help for the Black Muslim movement and the Black nationalist movement. So we have to understand exactly what's going on. You and I have to understand what's going on. Now, here's the thing about Albert Cleage, and a lot of people probably don't know this, but I want to expound a little more on it, so you'll be familiar with really how powerful our brother really was. That he had taken on in later life his other evolution when he grabbed the name Jaramanji Abibi Agyeman. So when he grabbed the name Jaramanji Abibi Agyeman, then he had risen to the place, right, where he was creating community. And this is one of the things that is a chief source to Black nationalism, that we will build up our communities, that we will build up our villages, right, so that we will be able to sufficiently protect our people. This hasn't happened just yet. We're in black communities today, but the time is coming where we will begin to build our own communities in this land, and we will literally run this land and be safe. And you will see that in 2050, we don't have that long to go. In 2050, we will be the majority not only in America, but brothers and sisters, we'll be the majority around the planet. And all you have to do is research that. I've done the stats on it, because we are growing. To every one white baby that dies, there are 10 black babies that are being born. 10 black babies being born. The birth rate of the white woman is down to negative 0.1. So that means she's not even producing, right? And every 3 children that are born dies, and only one make it. Until that one that's making it, you have 10 black children being born on a day-to-day basis. I hope you can appreciate what I'm saying, brothers and sisters. So we got a reason to come together, and we must reason together so that we'll be ready for the blessing that God is about to give you and I. God is about to bless us. We're about to be raised up, brothers and sisters. All of us are blessed and highly favored. Only the white man will teach some of us to say that we're blessed and highly favored. But God said that all of us are anointed of God. Isn't that right? That if he breathed his life in you, that you belong to him, and lo, you are made a new creature. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? Not only physically are you made a new creature and a holy person, right? But spiritually, when you accept this, you become a new creature and a holy and righteous person. And that's what God is leading you and I to know. And we have to act in the spirit of righteousness and stand in the spirit of righteousness. And we've got to protect our black community, brothers and sisters. Even when we're fighting, our goal must be to save the soul and the mind of the individual that we may have odds with. And this is why he tells us to reason together, to come and reason together. So I'm so thankful to be in this period, brothers and sisters. Greeting, Brother Kenneth Muhammad. Pleased to have you here. It's all about the work, our brother says, and the fruit of our labor. Brother, you just explained what the fruit of Islam means. You just explained it. I'm so happy that you came on, because it is about our works, and a tree is known by the fruit that it bears. And I salute you on that. All praises be to Allah and his holy prophet and messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and all the people that God brought before us, from the Baptist churches, the Church of God in Christ, from the holiness churches, the Pentecostal churches, the full gospel church, wherever we are, we give praise to God. We give praise to God, and we seek to save the lost, brothers and sisters. We seek to save the lost. And so Albert Cleage was an amazing person on this road of salvation, on this road of righteousness. And when he changed himself to Jaramungi Agyeman, when he changed himself to that phase of his life, he was building a black community. He was building black grocery stores, building black institutions in his own community. In his own community. And if you go to Beulah Land in Calhoun Falls, South Carolina, if you go there, that's where he spent his last years. But if you go there, you will see his vision. You will see his vision. And you also see a lot of white people that copied his vision, but they didn't succeed because they were not given the blueprint that God delivers to his prophet, like he told Amos to draw the plumb line of the temple and the city that would be built for God, that would sit on a hill. My God. God is good, brothers and sisters, and he's blessing us. He is blessing us to come together. And our brother EA said, what are your thoughts on the recent popularity of xenophobia promoted by certain people on social media, which causes division amongst foundational black Americans, idols, and black people worldwide? Well, I'll tell you this. I'm glad you asked that because that's very important. The first thing that I'll tell you is that any black person that is more concerned, and I believe this is something Dr. Khalid answered years ago, and Albert Cleage also talked about it with Tony Brown on the Black Journal, I think it was in 1972. You'll find that any black person that is consumed with other people coming over here, right, don't really understand what's going on. And they're lost because our main purpose is to build up our own people, to have our own stores, to have our own community so we can support one another. That nation is going to fall. That nation is going to fall. Now, our brother does bring out a good point. Brother Kenneth said it would be good if blacks worldwide helped, but we have to do this one ourselves. This is true. This is true. We've got to build up our community. We've got to build up our stores. We have to build up our temples, churches, what have you, and build up our states. And we have to take charge of these states to make sure that our people are getting what they need, right? Because, and this is our challenge. Our challenge is to do what the Mexican is doing, what the Chinese are doing, what you see white people do, even as individualists. That's our message. We've got to do what they're doing, right? We've got to master that skill. We have mastered every skill in the world, including medical science, musical science, art and history, Renaissance, culture, custom building, arts, all of these we've mastered, but we haven't mastered coming together to pull our resource in this country. We do it in Africa, in many places that have not been colonialized, but we've got to master doing it in this country that we're in. And when they're coming over, if we're paying attention to them and not building up ourselves, then we're off the mark. We can't be concerned about even the black man outside of America. Right now, we've got to build up America, black America, for ourselves. We've got to control, operate, and own black states by ourselves. We got to force those that are financing these states. Once we take it over, those that own the land in these states, once we take it over, we've got to force them to buy our products. And we'll do it by controlling certain states and creating those products, such as canning goods, right? And this is some of the things that, and we're still on the topic because this is some of the things that Albert Cleage talked to Dr. Khalid about. If you look, when they were, him and Dr. Khalid were talking in 1999, Wesley Snipes had given Dr. Khalid a great portion of land. Dr. Khalid was going to build a black community on there, grocery stores, a temple, and he's also going to have a training ground on there to make black soldiers. Wesley Snipes was going to also train in martial arts to black brothers and sisters. See, there's a lot going on that we just don't know about Dr. Khalid. He was much bigger than we gave him credit for as a people. He was not just a Muslim minister, but he was a great organizer and mobilizer. Dr. King was not a mobilizer, right? We must agree on that. He was an organizer, but he wasn't a mobilizer, right? He used tactics to get mobilization. This was the nonviolence and passive resistance. But to be able to actively mobilize people to do something for themselves, he wasn't able to do that because they started him off on the wrong path. And the path was wrong. But when Mr. Malcolm got people together under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the messenger's teaching, he could mobilize people. He could mobilize. And these same teachings helped him to mobilize outside of that for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because Minister Malcolm said in 1964, brothers and sisters, he said, I can do more for the movement. I want to help Mr. Muhammad that bad that I can do more for him outside of the Muslim movement. And this is one when he was put out or forced out. Nobody knew what was happening around the country, but this was happening. So I just wanted to say that we've got to bring the black people here together in America. We've got to recreate our own businesses. We've got to renovate a car factory. We can create our own cars. We got brothers that can go in the junkyard and can build a car from the ground up. Talented brothers out of the black community. Talented sisters that can outcook anybody, outsell any bakery. I know because I see them in the Muslim movement and I'm married to one that could build up and sell and make and create all these things. Right, brothers and sisters? So we've got to get to the place where we've got something worth buying. Isn't that right? And we can't do it, right, unless we're respectful. Right? We've got to get the women off the street that are selling their bodies and encourage them to do something with their minds and show them that you are somebody, you are worth somebody, and not to settle for being pimped out in the street. And so we've got to do the same thing to save the pimp, the drug dealer, and tell them that you're better than this. You are God and you're not a dog. So we've got to turn around what black women are calling them, because right now they are dogs. Isn't that right? And if you notice, the black man calls the black woman a bitch. Well, if he's not in God, then the black woman is not in God, then they are dogs. Because a bitch is only a pregnant female dog or a female dog. Isn't that right? But once we turn them around with the power of God, then we can turn that D-O-G into G-O-D. And instead of calling him a dog, when she's raised up in the faith and righteousness, she will be able and begin to call him a God, and he will be able to call her a goddess. And that's where God wants us today, brothers and sisters. So our brother EA said, I agree, but don't see Italian and Irish Americans demeaning and talking down on immigrants from Italy and Ireland. That's true, brother. I agree. I agree with you there. I want to say this. When here's what I want to explain. When the blacks come over here from Africa, they come with a mindset that we're not anybody anyway. And I know this because I have ridiculed and straightened them up and straightened them out for talking this way to our people and looking down on our children. Even when the African teachers come to teach our children in the public school system, they talk to our children like they're nothing. Right? It's very rare that you find an African that is even married to another African. Most of the time, you see them married to white men. And if they're married to an African man, then his mind is white. So we've got to, first of all, save our own people. Unless these African people desire to marry the African that's in America, or that the African that was born in America, then we could concentrate to save them, because they'll be in our fold. But before we can save them, brother, they need to know that they need help. And many of them don't even know that they need help, and they will betray you and I as soon as they get over here, right, with the backing of the white man. And the white man will literally, through his psychological warfare against us, will fund them, give them money to open up stores, give them money to open up clothing stores, give them money to open up car lots and everything else. And we have to be cognizant that they are used against us, and many of them that are coming to this country come from the African countries that have betrayed us. And brothers and sisters, truth be told, many of them are going to have to get spankings from us and fire on their behind when that day comes, because you'll find out that just like they were running to catch us and our ancestors to put us in slavery in Africa, they will be running to gun us down and keep us in oppression here. So we've got to concentrate on the African that was born in America, and we've got to get that together before we can change the mind of the African that is coming over here from Africa. Our brother Kenneth said, everyone is reaping what they did not sow except us. That's true, brother. That's true, and that's the reason why we've got to come together now to be able to reap what we've sown. We fought civil rights. We haven't got any benefits. The African coming here has benefits, but we don't have any benefits. We've got to get the same benefits that even the white people in LGBT have benefits from the civil rights that you and our parents and grandparents have sown, and we're not getting any benefits. We don't have any civil rights today. So you'll find that the red man sold us out, the yellow man sold us out, the brown man sold us out, and they're getting the benefits that you and I are not getting today. And our brother EA says that's an U.S. problem then, and can't be xenophobic and point the fingers at our African brothers and sisters. That's true, brother, but that's my point. Our African brothers and sisters have to be strong enough not to fall for the okie doke, and strong enough to turn down the money from the white man to work against us. Because I've seen that happen even in the hospital and even my clinic. I've seen that happen, and for that reason, brother, if I can employ anybody, if the day comes when I can employ anybody ever again, he will be black, just black. And I mean the African born in America, right? That don't mean that I'll be mean to the African, but I'll give the first hiring choice to one of the Africans born here, because the African in Africa, they don't even respect us. Not all of them, but there are many of them that talk down to us, that don't even respect us as African, and it was their countries and their ancestors that sold us into slavery. And while we're fighting hard to get out of this, you have those that are coming here, their ancestors that fought to keep us in it will help them keep us in it. And there were Africans in Africa that owned us as slaves, as well as the Native American, the Cherokee Indian. They owned us as slaves. And this is a fact in history that I hate to admit, but nonetheless, it's the truth. Our brother Kenneth said, not pointing the fingers, but what's owed to us is soaked up by others, and but it's past time for us to take what's ours, starting with our mindset. That's right, brother. And we've got to have the same mind. Didn't Jesus say, let the same mind be in you that is in me? And he was a revolutionary. The real Jesus was a black revolutionary. He said, I came to my own. He said, I came to my own. I read in the African Orthodox version, it said that I came for my own. So there's been some stuff that was added to the King James Version Bible. He said, I came to my own, and they received me not. So he told us, he said, go ye therefore in the highways and the hedges, and repel my brothers and sisters to come back unto me, to come back to God. So I just want to say that to explain it. Do you think Malcolm would have been better off just focusing on the teaching and politics after he left, instead of going back and forth verbally with the NOI, or was the writing already on the wall for him? I think that, and this is very important. First of all, Minister Malcolm was on his way back into the nation, but it was after he learned a very bitter lesson. If you listen to his speech in Detroit, 1964, also Detroit, Michigan, 1965, February the 14th, 1965, he gave a lot of credit to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he had already been saying that he was trying to get back into the nation. As a matter of fact, Minister Muhammad and his wife had also admitted this in one of the talks. Mr. Muhammad and Minister Malcolm had a meeting, and in this meeting that they had reconciled. Minister Malcolm had reconciled his differences with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and Mr. Muhammad told him what was going on, that the CIA and FBI was behind all this stuff. And then you heard Minister Malcolm admit that the CIA and FBI was behind that, because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had been told that they were going to try to kill Minister Malcolm in France, and Minister Malcolm knew that there was no way for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to know that if the government hadn't told him. And so Mr. Muhammad tried to get in contact with Brother Malcolm. And so you can hear all of this in one of the lectures, but in the speech that Minister Malcolm gave in Detroit, he was giving this praise back to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for his teaching, training, and the way he was dressed. But they wouldn't let him come back in because the two agents and informants that were brought in to keep Minister Malcolm out had hit the kill button on Minister Malcolm and organized it to the very end. And so I hope that answers your question, brother EA. And Brother Larry says, them people, they stick together, brother. They call the brother agent over petty conversation. That's true. That's true, brother. I have to agree. And that's why I'm trying to be careful. I try to be and try to explain, because if we don't have an understanding, we can give it up, brothers and sisters. We're wasting our time if we don't have an understanding. But when we get an understanding, then we're able to stand and understand and overstand what God wants us and what our mission is. The only people you see going back and forth and will get off course are people who have gotten confused about their mission. They've gotten confused about their mission. Our mission is to save the lost. Our mission is to get black people together, to organize them and stabilize them, to do for self, to have a nation of our own, to have land of our own, to have communities of our own and businesses of our own that we're controlling. That when we get back a black Wall Street, then we'll have an army to defend it. Right? We'll have a Navy, Air Force, and a Marine to defend it. And some brothers and sisters are laughing today, but that day is coming, brothers and sisters. That day is coming for us, and it won't be very long. You all seen that one movie, Undercover Brother? Y'all seen that movie? You don't know. We've got some undercover brothers, right, doing the work. We already got people already doing the work. But one day, as our brother Steve told us, one day the brother is not going to be undercover, but he's going to be on the cover, and he's going to be letting us know exactly what's going on, right? Because he'll be organized, right, with understanding to continue to teach us guidance, right, and continue to organize us so that we'll be able to do the will of God. And Brother Ye said you could make an argument that some African nations may owe us reparations. And that is true, brother. That's true, brother EA. Yes, they do. And the United Nations has already talked about it. Don't forget to thumbs up, like, and subscribe, brothers and sisters. We sure could use it. And don't forget to hit the bell because you know we'll be back tomorrow. But that's true. Their African countries do owe us reparations. And we intend to get those reparations. We certainly intend to get those reparations. But yes, they do. They do owe us reparations. Do owe us reparations. Yes, sir. Brother Larry says that self-control ought to be the black man's God. That's true. And the question is, why is the government telling Elijah all this? That's true. But brother, the government through John Ali, once the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad understood that John Ali was an agent, then he would hear these things and be able to get a message back to Minister Malcolm. Minister Malcolm, after he come to his senses, because once he's out of the nations, his course was reckless. We have to agree. We have to agree to that. But once they began to have some understanding, then they figured out that the target was two people. They were gonna get Minister Malcolm. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it. He said the truth. He said Minister Malcolm's course, right, led him to his death. And then the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad started speaking about people that were around him that were the enemy. People around him, so he knew. And the government, this was a scare tactic, right? That they were trying to, see, when the government tell you information like that, is really for you. They may tell you something about somebody else, but it's really for you. So that's an important thing. It's sort of braggadocio. So, Brother Larry said, black people get over their religious movements and create true spiritual movements, and you'll see a different paradigm shift. That's certainly the truth, brother. Brother Kenneth Muhammad said, Reverend Cleage, warning, topic. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother, Minister. Tracy said, here we go, bashing the minister. Nobody has even said anything about Minister Farrakan at this point, but greetings, Sister Tracy, greetings. Our brother EA said, reparations are indeed owed, but I'm personally not sure I'd accept any money for my ancestors. I believe it meant my ancestors. Blood, pain, sweat, tears, and suffering. No monetary gain will be acceptable, and money for the ancestors type. I understand. Brothers and sisters, so back on the topic that we were discussing, Albert Cleage, thank you, Brother Kenneth. Albert Cleage had been given this information to the most honorable Dr. Khalid Muhammad. He gave this information, and once he gave this information to Dr. Khalid, then Dr. Khalid at that point doesn't fight at that moment any knowledge or anything that he hears. There's a transformation happen. A lot of people wonder why Dr. Khalid sort of becomes real strong. Well, he starts preaching real strong. He said, I'm a new Khalid Muhammad now. You'll hear him say that often enough, that he's a new Dr. Khalid Muhammad. Well, the reason for that is that he had decided at that moment that he was going to go all in. That he was going to go all in. He finally decided that no matter what, he was going to go all in. And he began, you see him, he becomes even bolder. He becomes even bolder. He takes more chances. He takes more chances. He even said, well, I've gotten shot. I've got nothing to lose. So he takes more chances than he would normally take. He's standing up. He has guidance in this. Reverend Albert Cleage is guiding and leading Dr. Khalid to have these type of episodes where, and that's what I can call it, best I can explain it, where he is aggressively talking to black people, but he even goes to this point where he doesn't want a bunch of people that are crowding around. It has nothing to do with his life. He's not searching for the crowds at that point. He says, I'm not looking for any crowds. You'll see him say that on one of the places where he was speaking on the doorsteps. He was speaking on the doorsteps. He said, I'm not after any crowds or anything like that. He said, I'm building now. He said, I'm building. He said, I'm not after that. He said, I'm trying to get those with me that are willing to go. And he began to say, about if I had 100, if I had 50, if I had 40, if I could only find 10, then I would take those and we'll go and revolutionize the world. And he goes and said, Jesus did it with 12. A lot of this stuff that he was talking, you can also hear Reverend Cleage mention the very same thing. So, but they talk about these warnings that he was getting from the nation because he had been around, Reverend Cleage had been around Minister Malcolm. He knew the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he knew Minister Farrakan. And he knew the atmosphere of the nation. He knew the atmosphere of the nation. And Cleage, if you look at Reverend Cleage, he was a black Christian nationalist. He was a black Christian nationalist. And he identified it, right, by working with the Nation of Islam in his Christian setting and grabbing people from the outside, telling them to support. And anytime the nation would meet somewhere, Cleage would meet with them with his malfaction because he had more in common with the Nation of Islam than he did with the white Christian movement led by black ministers. Understand what I'm saying? You have a lot of black ministers, but they are white nationalists. I hope you can appreciate that, brothers and sisters. You got a lot of black ministers that are white nationalists, right? They would like to be black nationalists, but they just can't let go the chicken that the white man is handing them. They can't turn down the coffee. They can't turn down dinner. They can't turn the white man or woman down in their bedroom, their front room, their living room, their kitchen. They can't turn them down. But see, we would have freedom tomorrow if we could turn the white man down. If we could turn him down, we would have freedom tomorrow. But we can't be marrying the white woman talking about we want liberation. Come on, somebody. We can't be marrying the white man talking about we want liberation. We can't be taken and being employed by the white man talking about we want liberation. We got to keep working as long as you can now, but constantly work on building up the black community, building your own business. There's something that you can do, a talent you have that will be beneficial to black brothers and sisters. Sisters, are you ready? Are you ready, sister? I guess she's in the back with the children. She's great help to me. I thank Allah for her, and I tell her all the time. I'm so thankful. But if we would build up the black community, if we would come together to support black business, right? We could build up a black mart. And if we build up a black mart, right, then we won't have to go to Walmart. I hope you hear me. If we got black brothers that can build up cars, isn't that right? This is what Reverend Cleage and Brother Khalid was talking about. We have too much talent among ourselves. We have too much talent than to be building up the white man's business, working for the white man. We got brothers that can take cars out of the junkyard, build them up, polish them, paint them, and be able to sell these cars as classics on the street. Isn't that right? Sell them to white people that want them anyway. Because nobody can do it like the black man can do it. Nobody can run the labor market like the black man can run it. Nobody can run the hospital like the black man can run the hospital. Nobody can run the grocery store like the black man. Nobody can run the banks like black people can do. Nobody can work on the farm, work in agriculture, work in the factories like black people can do. Wherever you see the schools, you see black people. So the man ain't going to make it without black people, because black people are the thing that make his machine go. But now it's time for us to become the thing that make our machines go, for our people, for our own freedom, for our own justice, for our own quality, and for our own liberation. We've got to do that for ourselves. The white man can't do it for us. The Asian man can't do it for us. The brown man can't do it for us. The red man can't do it for us. We've got to do it for ourselves. And there's a message to the black man in America, written by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, that has the way for you and I to come out of the oppression that we're in. And I'm glad. I'm so glad, brothers and sisters, that he has made the way for us, that God gave the way to him to make it for us. And you and I are blessed, and better than blessed, to be able to receive it. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? And the fact that you and I are standing here today says that our ancestors has done an awesome work, and we stand on their shoulders to finish the work of liberation for our people. It's time for us now to make the moves and to decide now what states we're coming in. Brothers and sisters, the sister is ready. I'm so glad she's going to come before us. That's right, brother. Our brother said nobody prepare food like our sisters. The sister is ready. She's coming before us, and she's going to say something to us. She was back there with the children. I'm so thankful, so proud. But she's ready to come before us and say something to us. And I'm so thankful that she come. Brothers and sisters, if you please, I appreciate you very much.
Peace, love, and light. How y'all doing today? Hope y'all doing well. Hope you're doing well. All right. Hope you're doing well. And, all right. So y'all talking about reparations. Absolutely. Absolutely. We definitely are overdue for reparations, liberation, and freedom. I know I'm done being an economic slave. I don't know about you, but I am definitely done being a slave. Yeah, we are physically free, but we are still bound in so many ways. Still bound in slavery. Prisoners of war in this country, in this nation that we call United States of America Incorporated. And we're still fighting for freedom here. And I know we're on YouTube, so you have people watching from all over the world. All over the world have access to these videos. And, we have to get the truth out there everywhere so that our enemies can be held accountable, right? We need to hold these people accountable, and we also need to fight for our liberation and fight for our freedom. There's so many different ways to fight. But if somebody's coming at you with a gun, most certainly you probably want to have one, all right, in order to defend yourself. Absolutely. There's so many levels of fighting that we have to do here. We're playing chess. We're not playing checkers. It's not tic-tac-toe. We're playing chess, and there's so many layers, so many different layers and degrees of oppression and servitude and slavery that's going on. And if you're not paying attention, you'll be going over your head, and you'll willfully be a slave to somebody else while they live a free and liberated life. You'll be just surviving day to day, living to give them a lifestyle, and all you getting is some scraps from the table, just as if you were still on the plantation, being housed in the worst of conditions, eating the worst of the food, and but you're doing all of the work. And we're doing the same thing today. A lot of us are doing the very same thing today. A lot of us don't even have no idea the way that our oppressors are living. They have several mansions. They do. They'll have several mansions in several different places. And, a lot of our people are living in very poor conditions in houses that are decapitated. I see it every day. All you have to do is drive through one of the poor communities in your town. Every town has one, right? Every town has a hood. Even the rural towns have a hood. Every town has a place where you can go and you can see how the poor people there are living, and hope to God that they even have a house and aren't homeless on the street, right? Because we're in an economic crisis right now, right? We're in an economic crisis, and the best thing we can do for ourselves is to support one another and to invest in ourselves. We have to invest in our own businesses. We have to invest in our own people. We have to love each other. We have to love ourselves. There is nothing wrong with loving yourself. You can't love anybody else until you love yourself. You can't do anything for your community. You can't do anything as a mother or a wife until you're first doing those things for yourself. Can't do anything as a husband, as a father, or as a brother until you're doing those things for yourself, until you're taking care of yourself first and foremost. And once you have mastered the ability to love yourself, love that person in the mirror, then you can begin to care for those people that are closest to you in your immediate family. And once you have mastered doing that, brothers and sisters, then you can start, master that first. A lot of us talk about community building, but we have not done the foundational work, because your family will teach you everything you need to know about the world. You're in your family, the family that you're in, for a reason. I don't care how many demons you have to deal with in your family. You are with those people for a reason, to teach you what people are like in the world. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They teach you what people are like in the world, how to deal with people in the world, and how to overcome in certain situations and conflicts, etc., etc. And you have to be able to master yourself, master your ability to love those around you, even if it's done at a distance. You have to be able to do that, because then when you go into the community, you're not taken back by what you have to face in the black community and your local community. Absolutely. You know what you're going to come up against, and you're able to deal accordingly, and it's not something that's just going to take you out, and get you off of your mark, get you off of your square. But you have to first be secure within yourself. Absolutely. And then secure within your family. Absolutely. Brothers and sisters, if your family is not secure, you shouldn't be out doing anything, in my personal opinion, because it don't make good math. It don't make good math for you to be going out and doing things in the community for the community. You got this mic or podium or whatever platform that you're using. It doesn't make sense for you to do that and you don't have your house in order. That means you're doing things out of order. You're doing things out of order, and you're probably going to be leading people astray because you're not coming from a place where you have mastered your own personal environment or even mastered your own self. So how can you stand in front of somebody and lead anybody? And and I know that probably ties into some of the things y'all have been speaking about today. But we have to be careful, people that we're lifting up too. The people that we're supporting, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. Absolutely. We should make sure that whoever we're supporting, that we're supporting people that can lead us into a better future. And I'm not just talking about, a better future, just on a grand scale, because all of that has to be built on a solid foundation. Has to be built on a solid foundation. If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead your family. Absolutely. My family's all jacked up. But guess what? I guarantee you those people are following me. I'm not following them. I'm not following them. They're following me. And they know I love them. Even if a lot of them, I have to love them from a distance. Absolutely. And you have to first start there. Before you can lead a nation, you got to be able to lead yourself. You have to be able to lead your family, and you have to be able to lead your community. Okay, you have to be able to lead anybody that comes around you. You are accountable for those people before you want to stand up in front of a large group of people. You need to be accountable. Be accountable to yourself and to those who know you, who are close to you and know you. Absolutely, that's where you have to start at. You have to start there. And let's not be fake. Let's not be fake with ourselves. You got to be real. We've got to get real at all times, because we're coming into a time now when you're not real, people are just going to know. People are just going to know. They're going to be able to feel it, that you're not being real. And if you're somebody that's not real, I'm not talking to you, because you ain't going to never be able to tell if somebody else is real, because you ain't real with yourself. I ain't talking to y'all. I'm talking to all the other real people that are doing the work that they need to do internally first. And then also what they need to do with the people they're in a relationship with, because you can't neglect your relationships. You can't neglect your personal relationships and think you're going to go out into the community and make a great difference, because you're not. Those same mistakes you're making in your personal relationships, you're going to make those same mistakes in the community. Absolutely. And once you get to the point where you can move in your community and uplift your community, and you can build with your community, then guess what? Then you're in a place to start dealing with politics. Right, absolutely. Because guess what? If you don't have good relationships with the people in your community, with the business owners, etc., then you're not gonna do well dealing in politics either. Because your reputation is everything. Your reputation is going to be everything. It's going to make you or break you, right? We should all know that, And, of course, there's ways around that if you play good politics. And then we have to know, if we're talking about black nationalism, we're talking about being pro-black, we can't ignore politics, whatever you call it. You can't ignore it, especially not in your local community. Okay, because that's where the power to change things, that's where it lies. Okay, that's where it lies. We can complain about this, and we can complain about that, or we can take over. I mean, it is what it is. You have to take over. You can't let somebody else have the power and then complain about what they're doing with the power that you're allowing them to have over your life. You have to take control. Take control, because you have power. Utilize everything that you have and you can use. You already have everything that you need. We as a people have everything that we need. We could literally be running this country right now. Overnight. It could happen overnight. Absolutely it could. Absolutely it could. And I pray for the day. I've seen the day. I have seen the day, and I just can't wait for it to be a reality for us as a people. Because it is coming. The time is coming. I definitely believe that. I believe in the word of God. Yes, absolutely. That the kingdom of God is going to come on this earth. And I know some of you might not really understand what the kingdom of God is, but I am not confused. I am not confused when the righteous are in power. Absolutely. People that look like me. Because I understand the difference in my genetics and what it really means to be melanin dominant and to be connected to the earth and to creation, which is what? A representation of the Creator. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. I'm not gonna keep you all too long. So I just wanted to share a little bit with you. And make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. You support each other, love one another, support what we're doing here. Absolutely. If you could, please, if anybody here is a musician, you're on BandLab, go ahead and find me on BandLab. God is not new. I'm the same everywhere. I would appreciate your support on YouTube as well. God is not new. Please make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get my subscribers up, get my views up, watch as many of my videos as possible, so that I can go ahead and get my artist page that I need to have to make sure that my work is not under some liar, some foreign white woman who's running around naked and talking about my work is hers. All right, so I appreciate your support in that. And you can go to my website, goddessnadu.com. And definitely, if you are interested in the free birth class, that is still available. I do one-on-one classes as well. If you missed the deadline, I understand how important this is. I am flexible, so don't be afraid to reach out for what it is that you need. If I can help you get the information and the help that you need, I am honored and be happy to do it. But closed mouths don't get fed. All right. So thebirthguru.org, you find the free birth information. What is free birth? That is birthing without a medical professional attending your birth. And this is very important in order for us to save lives and you to be competent in giving birth, so that you're not risking your life going into a hospital that you don't need to be in around people who hate you and want to see you dead and want to use your organs and your baby's stem cells to make them some money and to prolong the life of these demons that are running this country. All right. And we also have a homeschool co-op, virtual homeschool co-op. So that's very important that we're teaching and homeschooling our children and doing so effectively and supporting one another, because it's not easy to homeschool your children. I do understand that it is not easy. It's definitely a sacrifice, and something that we should be doing as a community together. And I know moms and dads who are homeschooling want support. So that same website, thebirthguru.org, just click the homeschool tab and that will take you to enroll in a homeschool co-op. I know it's summertime, but you can definitely still join in to our summer session, or go ahead and get everything taken care of that you need to get taken care of, so that I can have you ready for our fall session when school starts back. Okay. You can enroll there and find all the information you need on the website that I just dropped in the chat. If you're watching the recording, just click on the live chat and scroll down so you can see the websites that I dropped for you there. And also, if you're looking for employment, I am hiring people to work from home. And I also do pay for referrals, $100 per referral, but the person does have to work for 2 months before you get that $100. Okay. Yes, we all have to make some money first, and once that person shows and proves that they are indeed a good referral, then I will definitely send you that $100, all right, per referral. And you can that is babymartyllc@gmail.com. That is my email where they can send their resume. How they can tell me that you referred them, or you can contact me directly and let me know that you're referring somebody. if you want to do it that way. If anybody has questions, they are welcome to email me or contact me. My contact information is out there. The first website I gave you, on that website you have the ability to request a phone call if you want to talk to me personally for a consultation or about any of the things that I'm telling you about right now, or a consultation about anything. You will also see on that website different I'm adding products to the website. I customize everything because I don't believe in just having general stuff out there for everybody, because everybody has specific health needs. But I do have products there as well, and different remedies and cures and things like that. So, if you want to consult about that, that's there for you as well. And I think I'm finished with this commercial break. All right. Love you guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Peace, love, light, Black Power.
Brothers and sisters, we thank you very much. And we're not going to hold you anymore. We thank you. And we'll be certainly coming here tomorrow. We got to do that theme song someday. So we'll be looking very much forward to seeing you tomorrow. And we thank the sister for coming on. We thank the sister for coming on. And giving us the knowledge that she's given us. And for us to continue on, moving, doing the work that God says. And don't forget that we're putting the book, certainly. And I'm thankful, I can be thankful that God has shown you the things that I'm going through to be able to stand up for the black community. So at least you were able to see it. So I'm very thankful. Tell you I'm thankful. That's why I put all the shows up on Facebook. If you go to my Facebook, you'll see that this is true. And I thank you very much. Appreciate you for all that you've done. And pray that you will continue to stand with us and support us on a monthly basis. You can decide what you want to give us on a monthly basis. And whatever you give us, we're thankful for it. Certainly thankful for it. Just let somebody else know about us. Let somebody know about us and let them know about the great work that we're doing here. Brothers and sisters, I thank you very much and ask that you continue to be in submission to God 100%, and that you will love your brothers and sisters that you're there with, that you rise up with every day. And thank God for every day that He gives you with them. May God continue to bless, keep you in all that you do. And I pray that all the fear that's in you be taken out. And you realize that the white man is not to be feared, but let's fear God who can harm the body and the soul. But the white man, you can handle him once you stand up to decide to be a man and woman to do what God is leading you to do. To defend your family, to stand with and for your family, and to be an example and example to this world that we're facing on a day-to-day basis. Brothers and sisters, please stand into righteousness and don't turn back. I say unto you, peace and love, peace be unto you, and assalamu alaikum.